I'm Danny Dyer. Playing hard men and acting tough has been my bread and butter. But now I've got a new role. I'm going to be tracking down some of the most feared men in the country on both sides of the law. I'm going to find out what makes them tick, how they got their fearsome reputations, and why they're considered some of Britain's deadliest men.
This is the ultimate challenge!
I know I've done a few naughty things in my life, but I'm not sure I deserve to be sent to Coventry. Literally. And not only that, I'm here to meet a guy with a fearsome reputation, a fighter who's feared on the deadly cage fighting circuit.
Let's hear it for Barrington Patterson!
He lives to fight, whether it's outside a pub or in the ring. He'll go up against anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Bashing someone up, the pleasure I get out of doing that.
He loves the adrenaline rush that only a fist connecting to flesh can provide.
That's an offensive weapon. You know, I could stand there having a row with him, one bang, bang. Split his skull open, that's a fucking murder.
I'm in the Midlands on my way to meet a vicious cage fighter. His name is Barrington Patterson, also known as Baz.
Weighing in at 110 kilograms. He is from Coventry. Let's hear it for Barrington Patterson!
Cage fighting is a no-holds-barred mix of martial arts. It's brutal, bloody, and a very big business, with more than 300 million fans around the globe. Black belts and fancy moves are no match for the sheer ferocity of this new breed of fighters. Barrington has fought from Russia to Rio and from Hawaii to Holland. But for him, it's not about the belts, the money, or the fame. It's all about the fight. But the time has now come to give it all up. And Barrington is in training for the biggest fight of his career, his last. But he's got a hunger for winning, so he'll treat it as if it's his first.
Barrington is still Barrington. You can't really tame a lion, can you?
He's known to be even scarier out of the ring.
You don't know him and you piss him off. Be at your own peril.
Met this guy a few years ago. Back then he was a football hooligan. If I remember rightly, he was a proper hard geezer.
An important game like this morning, I get up, do my stretching, put my legs up and thought, yeah, I want to kick some fucking ass today and go home. Yeah.
Of all the hooligans I met, he was physically the most imposing of them all, and you could just tell this guy had a passion for violence. I heard he's got his last cage fight coming up. It's been a while since I last saw him. I'm looking forward to seeing if he's changed. He's asked me to meet him at the place where he comes to relax. I certainly wouldn't place him at a golf range, but who am I to argue? It's nice, isn't it? Nice and quaint. Yeah, he is. Look at the size of him, look. Monster. Baz, my old son.
Oh, hey, me old China.
Yeah, it's been a while, mate, isn't it?
Oh, sweet, mate, all right.
Good to see you, mate. Yeah, you're looking really well, mate. Didn't expect to see you on a golf range, smashing balls, you know what I mean?
It's just a bit of time for relaxing before I have the big one, you know.
Yeah? So you've been behaving yourself?
That's a naughty word. Me behaving myself.
Barrington learnt all he knows from fighting on the streets as part of Birmingham City's notorious hooligan gang, the Zulu Warriors.
That's in my blood, man. I'm a blues fan, and I'll always be a Birmingham City fan. No one will ever take that away from me. I'm a Zulu, and that's it, man.
But even hooligans have to work. And what better job for Barrington? Bouncing.
I started working when I was 18, 19. And half the time I was fighting 7 nights a week.
Back in the 80s, he could get away with it by hitting first and asking questions later. But in 2001, you couldn't get a doorman's licence with criminal convictions of GBH and assault. Barrington's bouncer career ended.
Practice swing and all? You're saying you come at the end of your run now?
Coming to the end of my runway, man. I've had a good run. I've had a brilliant run. I got my last fight in October. I'm going to call it a day,
do you think you'll be able to call it a day, or was it going to be as easy as that?
No, it's going to be hard. I love having a tear up. I love having a tear up. You know, 2 gladiators in a ring or a cage, just having it off, man.
Yeah, and not get nicked for it.
I wish I was back in the Roman times, yeah. Not getting nicked for it, yeah.
Fighting for Barrington started out as a form of defence as a youngster. It then turned into an extreme form of escapism as a teenager. Is it simply to escape the pressures and mishaps that life's thrown at him? And what happens once he gives it all up? How else does he get his kicks? If violence was a drug, Barrington would be an addict. And I don't want to be there when he's going cold turkey. Sorry, mate.
Coming up, I open my big mouth.
I'll jump in the cage and I'll knock the pair of them out.
And end up swallowing my words. And now that he's not allowed to bounce, Barrington shows me what it's like to be a door supervisor.
Well, I'm in lawless Britain.
I've been sent to Coventry to spend some time with cage fighter Barrington Patterson. We met up at the most unlikely of places and still managed to take a few hits. This intimidating character is training hard for the final cage fight of his career. Cage fighting combines all the areas of mixed martial arts, including kickboxing, wrestling, karate and boxing. You're allowed to do pretty much anything except poke the other geezer in the eye or fondle his family jewels. Barrington has brought me to one of the gyms he trains at to show me his moves.
Well, me and Baz are going to have a right tear up now. No? It's been on the cards for a couple of years. You know, I'm popping my pants, to be honest with you. Nice.
Today's lesson is in grappling, aka ground and pound. It's where you get your opponent to the ground and pound the life out of them.
You get on your fours like this.
So you're going to show me a bit of grappling?
Yeah.
So I'll go like that.
So you're grappling like
Yeah.
And you just keep working each other like this.
What you're trying to do is get him in the mouth and round the neck, innit?
I'm trying to get there.
The size of it.
Yeah.
Fucking right on the calf, that is. Fuck, man.
Cool.
Oh.
Look at his centre there.
So
the guy's on him, like...
Yeah, I've seen this stuff.
Yeah. The guy's flat, so he can't move then. And you can bash him. And you come on there, right underneath his nose there.
Yeah.
Tapping that.
Fucking hell. So basically, that's... I would say there, you ain't really got to work on it too much, really.
No, there is a lot to work on.
Yeah.
Especially, like, sorry, if you're standing up.
Yeah.
Well, you get every fight starts from standing up from there. Yeah. So you can either go there.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Then do I from there.
Why do you prefer doing this than boxing? I mean, boxing is too restricted. You want to do more.
So I got a disability in my eye.
Okay. No, I'll just ask you about how did that happen to you? Why?
It happened when I was about 7 years. I had an argument with my sister, and she threw a can at me.
A can?
Blind in my eye.
Went like that,
I can't remember if it was full of drink, but she threw it at me and it caught me in my eye.
How old was you?
About 7 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got no pupil in this eye.
Okay. No. Okay. Yeah.
So
of course.
I couldn't get a licence to box.
Is that not a disability with this as well, though? I mean,
It doesn't stop me.
Well,
you know, if they gave me a licence to box, I'm sure I'd put. I'm sure I'd do a good job at it as well, but can't get a licence to box.
And that's okay.
I can get a licence to cage fight. I can get a licence to kickbox. You know, look at my disability, like I said, I've got, and I've only been knocked out once, and I've been all over the world fighting.
The more I get to know about Baz, the more I admire him. I can't believe he fought in over 20 professional fights, and all with just one eye. He's a man who works hard to get what he wants, and he won't let anything get in his way. But I have to wonder what sort of a childhood he had, if cans were being thrown around the place. It must be hard to see those right hooks coming at you.
Had a little bit of a grapple with a Baz. It's interesting because obviously last time I met him, you know, he's just a football hooligan. He's talking about, you know, street brawling and kicking off in mass numbers, where actually he's quite a serious fighter, you know what I mean? He takes it very seriously, and I've not seen that side to him yet, you know, and he's very impressive, and the power on the man. I mean, let me just tell you something now. When you got Baz laying on top of you, you know about it.
Barrington's final cage fight will be in Rotterdam against Dutch fighter Bob Schreiber, a.k.a. Dirty Bob.
This character, he's a legend. You know, it's like referring to football. Somebody's had the opportunity to play football against Pele or Georgie Best or someone. I've seen him put so many people's lights out.
I've always liked the way this guy fights, the way he carries himself. I respect the guy a lot, and this will be it.
With his kickboxing background, Barrington's kicking and punching is very strong.
If he hits you with that right hand, you stay hit. You're going to sleep for a long time. Barrington's other good asset is his feet. He's so flexible with his feet. He's knocked people out in here with head kicks.
Bob is an all-rounder, and whilst Barrington may have looked like a good grappler against me, grappling is actually his weakest area, and Bob will no doubt use this to his advantage.
He might try to take Barrington to ground because he knows that's his weakness. If he goes on his back, that's where he's weak, and a good ground fighter always does well against Barrington, so we don't want him on his back, we want him standing up.
Barrington will have to train hard to make sure that Dirty Bob doesn't manage to get him to the ground. If this happens, he could not only lose, he could be seriously injured. With only a few months to go, Barrington needs all the help he can get with his grappling. The best way for him to practice is to go up against a strong opponent and spar a few rounds. Barrington is a well-known figure in these parts, and it's a big turnout considering it's just a spar. Today, he'll be going up against Mark Goddard. Mark is a true professional fighter, about to break into the UFC circuit. They're the same weight, but Mark is 10 years younger, so no doubt he'll give Barrington a good workout.
I'm just excited, really. There's a nice little bit of tension in the air, and I just want to see it go, you know? And if they both keep getting leery, I'll jump in the cage and I'll knock the pair of them out.
His girlfriend Lucy has come along to watch with her daughter Mia and Barrington's son, Kai. They're not fighting at full power because neither of them want to get hurt, but it's still an essential part of training for Barrington in the lead-up to his big fight. Grappling is one of Mark's specialities, so he's the perfect sparring partner for Barrington.
Go on, Baz. Yeah, it's quite a bit more lively than what I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you. You know, he's got his retirement fight coming up, so he couldn't, you know, he didn't want to go full throttle, but you just get a sense. Just imagine that man running towards you, you know what I mean? It's, you know, it's powerful stuff, you know. I mean, how does it make you feel watching your man, though, in a ring, top off, being a right, you know, being a warrior? Does it do it for you or what?
Do it for me. It must do, mustn't it?
Does it for me, babe, I've got to tell you that now. How did you like it? Don't it scare you, watching that? It does scare you a little bit, yeah? Yeah? You don't want to see him get hurt, do you? But that was all right, that, though, wasn't it? Because it was a bit like play fighting, wasn't it? Yeah? How's it feel, you know? He's a beautiful kid, but how's it feel having a little
it's
here?
nice. I want him to be a fighter as well.
Oh, you do, yeah?
Yeah, I'd love him to be a fighter.
Oh, you'd agree with that?
He's too good. He's too
good looking, isn't he?
As you can see, he's too good looking for that.
He's got a good boat about him. He's got a good hairdo about him as well. But you quite like having him there, just watching you and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he fights every day.
Yeah.
He goes in my bag, puts my gloves on.
Yeah.
And he bashes me, and I'll bash him back as well. So
yeah.
I'll sneak the little 1 or 2 hard ones in.
Chopping the boy up early doors.
Yeah.
The kids have clearly picked up some tips, but I think Kai's got a bit more work to do staying on his feet. Barrington has to make a living to fund all this training. He used to work as a doorman. In 2001, new laws came in, and with his criminal convictions for assault, he can't get a licence. So he now oversees a team of 50 men who run over 20 of Coventry's toughest doors.
I'm a consultant in my mate's security company called Jab UK. My job is to go and check on the door and make sure they're on time, they're dressed properly, and any issues, any problems, I'll try and sort them out for my doorman. So I know a lot of people anyway, so it keeps a lot of pressure off my doorman.
With a population of 300,000, over 7,500 violent crimes are reported in Coventry every year. Most of these are alcohol-related offences. It's Barrington's job to oversee sorting out the dodgy doors that no one else will touch.
He's going to give me a rare insight into the dark and dangerous world of being a Coventry doorman. For most people, their job's 9 till 5, but for Barrington, it's 8 till 4 a.m, where he runs some of Coventry's most dangerous clubs. So how does it work overnight then? I mean, what you running back and forth or what?
Most times just doing this, running backwards and forwards to and from Leamington to Coventry all the time.
I mean, do people start on you? Do you get people that try and get leery around you?
Only when they're fucking pissed.
I was going to say, because I'm not being funny, have you got any sense, right? And why is anyone going to start giving it to you? Do you know what I mean?
You see, like around most ourselves in Coventry, everyone wants to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, but listen, coming up to you, ain't going to make a name for yourself. All you're going to do is you're going to mug yourself off. And what you're getting at, the motor to 30 geezers or what? You know what I mean?
Sometimes you are. That's why I play golf as well, you see.
What? Just what? What do you mean? What?
That's why I play golf.
Just to de-stress yourself?
Nah, keep my club in the back.
OK, gotcha.
A few minutes into our tour, and Barrington spots some trouble. Me and the TV crew is a sure way of attracting all the natters.
That's a legend. Sure.
Hello, darling. How you doing? Pleasure. See you later. I'm going to be honest with you. I've only been down here 5 minutes, and already it's kicking off left, right, and centre. It's about 10 o'clock already. It's that mad mentality in the town. Nutty birds everywhere. I feel a bit digi. Even though I've got Barrington around me, I feel a little bit digi. Let's jump back in the motor lively. Tell me about some of the trouble that you've had around this sort of manner.
When I first started back working here in 1988, 89, one of my mates, who was a doorman, he got stabbed to death just outside here. I was there the night when a guy got shot. That's the place there where I got attacked myself by a geezer with a knife.
Really?
Yes.
As a doorman, I would say it's a tough job in the fact that you're almost a sitting duck in the fact that if you throw somebody out,
yeah,
they know exactly where you're going to be, don't they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, I'm sure you get a lot of
just like, for instance, in there one night, this guy was arguing with his girlfriend. I pulled him off and he swung a punch from me. I banged him, knocked him out. Standing there 5 minutes later, he drove a car through the door.
He drove a car
through the door. Man to the pavement, the car comes straight through the door. Now when guys say to you, I'm coming back, that's when you got to take them things seriously.
You do, yeah.
Because they do come back. And half the time they're coming back with a gun or something like that. Yeah, like years ago when guys say, oh, I'm going to shoot you, you just laugh, oh, fuck off, you twat, laugh it off. Now you got to take them seriously, man. Yeah, someone says to me, I'm coming back with a gun, I'm slapping the fucking off you.
Yeah.
This door business is a really full-on job. It's not just standing around checking people's ID. These guys are putting their lives on the line. This is Spond Street, a stretch of road so dangerous that even 2 of the chip shops need security.
I feel like I'm in Lawless Britain.
For the first time since filming this series, I've been provided with a bit of security, and I can tell you, I feel much safer with Baz and his mate Andre watching me back. Visiting one more bar in the roughest end of town might not have been the best idea. With my mug here, I have a feeling that Baz is getting more attention than usual. It's like being trapped in the opposition stand at an away match. I'm a bit worried about how he's going to react.
His reputation in Coventry is, oh, don't annoy Barrington. He'll give you a chance. He'll give you an option to go. If he punches him with his power, he's probably liable to break the neck. So he tends to just hit you with an open hand, which usually does the trick.
Andre keeps me out of harm's way, whilst Barrington takes care of a little business. He calls in one of his doormen to do the dirty work.
Right, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I just want to go back to the hotel. Barrington's at it all night. I'll say good luck to him, mate. I tell you.
Coming up, Baz picks on a cage fighter.
That was fucking pathetic.
Out of the ring, I'll challenge him to 10 rounds. And Barrington takes a trip down memory lane.
You know, you can't probably toss your fucking salad around someone watching you.
Barrington Patterson is a cage fighter.
Triple right hand. Let's go.
Who's on a strict training regime leading up to his last ever fight. He spends hours every day running, grappling, kickboxing, doing weights, working on every aspect of his fight to get in the best possible shape. He stays focused during training by avoiding alcohol, eating well, and getting lots of sleep. Well, as much as he can when he's not supervising the doors.
I was out with Barrington all night last night. I got a sense of what his job's like, how manic it is. I think the best way to get to know someone is to see him in their home environment, so he's invited me around his gaff. How are you, sunshine?
Oh, not too bad, mate, yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Look at that, look. Gets on that parrot, look. Is that your best pal, then, that parrot?
Yeah. Hello.
All right, pal? How you doing? Everything in order? Oh, mate.
Come here, man.
Barrington wants to show me the footage of one of his fights. Entertainment the whole family can enjoy.
What's that feeling there, though, Baz? It's built up.
It's just unbelievable, man. You know, it's just unbelievable. You just want to get in there and get it on.
Barrington tends to be aggressive right from the start.
No eyeballing, nothing. You're just going to get straight on with it, mate.
Barrington just so strong.
Oh.
A few minutes in, Barrington starts to look in trouble, but it's not because of a punch.
Had all deep heat all over his body. So when I got in close to him, he's rubbing my face on his chest, and my eyes started burning me.
Really?
Which is illegal to have deep heat on your bloody body.
Is that why you picked him up and threw him?
There's a burning thing on his body there. Get right into it.
Right. So I think he's had to adapt. No.
Oh, he's caught you there, isn't it?
Barrington may want to put more snap into his kicks if he's going to kick him.
That's where I ended up breaking 2 bones.
Really?
Yeah,
from that?
From that, yeah.
Barrington trying to keep the distance.
So you're still kicking off when you broke your hand?
Yeah.
Two completely opposing. Oh, nice trip there.
Injuries are rife in this sport and can range from traumatic brain damage to joint injuries and fractures, and once, even death.
This could be the beginning of the end. A big heavy shot. And again, the left hook.
Get hold of that, mate. Get hold of that.
I think there's more. I think there's more of a buzz in a match or on a street than this. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, this is a controlled environment.
Yeah.
This is controlled. Yeah. Whereas out on the streets and
anything goes.
Anything goes.
It's the chaos of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's also that feeling, I suppose, of having a tear up with a group of people, and in there you're on your jack.
Exactly.
Is that it, yeah?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Cool, man.
Done him proper.
What's a feeling?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner in 1 minute 33 seconds of the second round.
Now that I've seen him in action, I think it's time to challenge Baz to a few rounds.
Yeah.
I've picked up a few tips along the way. I reckon I can take him.
Fucking hell. I'm a bird, look. Bird, it'd be right off here. It could sort of switch on him here, because he might get up by a bird. Easy. Bump, bump. Oh!
Am I winning, Kai?
No, he's going over. He's been tumbled by a bird. He's gone over. It's a treacle and all.
I can't believe you come to my house and beat me in my own fucking house.
I know. It's the only time I'll be knocking your daddy out. Don't you worry about that.
Go on, show you around upstairs.
Come in, son. Show me upstairs. See you later, old son. We'll have a bond up later.
Me little gaff.
Barrington has 4 daughters to 3 different women, but his youngest child and only son, Kai, is the apple of his eye.
Blue bedroom, I see. Is it nice to finally have a boy in?
Yeah, I've always wanted a boy. I've got 4 girls now and my boy, so
yeah.
I'm happy with that, man. I finally got a boy.
Yeah. No, it's nice, isn't it? I'd like to have a boy myself.
I love all my kids, but my boy's different.
Yeah, it's your boy. It's your little soldier, isn't it? He's a good kid as well, isn't he?
But you have to wonder what his relationship is like with his daughters.
He's the oldest with you, though. I mean, obviously, you've not seen her since she was 6 months.
Yeah, I haven't seen her since she was about 6 months old, but like I said, I'm not that hard to find, man. You know what I mean?
Are you intrigued, though? You must be intrigued.
I am, especially when I'm in Birmingham quite often, and I'm thinking someone walks past, I think that could be my daughter, I don't know, but I'm just getting on with my life, man. You know what I mean? I'm not that hard to find.
Barrington's own father wasn't around when he was growing up.
Well, my mum and dad were living together. I think it was about 6 or 7 of us. And when we were living in Birmingham, my dad was in some trouble, stabbed this Asian guy and ended up in jail.
Without a father figure there to guide him, Barrington fell in with the wrong crowd.
All right, mate.
How's it going, you all right?
I'm Baz, little Baz. Zulu Warrior, BCFC, you got the one.
Many of these guys were also involved. The Zulu Warriors, Birmingham City's notorious football hooligan gang. Football hooliganism was rife in the 80s, and the Zulus had a reputation for football violence, and Baz was always on the front line. Racial tension was high in Birmingham in the 80s, and the Zulus had a checkered history. The original Birmingham City firm was made up of right-wing skinheads. Music, fashion, and the large multiracial population of Birmingham soon had its effect, and the Zulus were born.
Black, white, Indian, you're Birmingham, that's it, no matter what colour you are. So it's not just because it's Zulu, it's not a black thing. We're just Birmingham. Everyone wants to fight us.
His mate Scouse was often on the front line next to him. They decided to go for a drive back to Birmingham City Football Stadium.
Like Birmingham City's just over there, so all these little back streets here, in the past have been very active. Battlegrounds, man.
Whilst they talk in past tense, it was only recently that Barrington got into trouble with the police on the way to a game.
His friend was in trouble, and he's that sort of person.
I ain't gonna see what 20, 30 Leng jumping on my mate, bashing my mate with truncheon, even while he's on the floor. I ain't gonna stand there and watch that happen. I'm not gonna stand there and watch that happen to anybody in my company. No matter if it's my friend or not, if you're in my company, I ain't gonna stand there and watch it happen. I jumped in there, got gassed, got bashed, just one of them.
Barrington got charged with assault and obstructing the police. He was fined £100 and lucky to escape a jail term.
You know, at the end of the day, I'm a martial artist. Tell you the truth, it takes one kick or one punch to kill someone. You know, I could stand there having a row with him, one bang, bang, He's gonna fall down, bang his head, split his skull open. That's a fucking murder.
If he used the same power on the streets that he uses in the ring, he could get himself into some serious trouble.
I wouldn't like to go back inside, but you never know what's around the corner, man. No, it's not fun, man. The food's fucking shit, the screws are shit, and half the people are shit. You know, you can't go for a fucking shit without someone watching you. You know, you can't probably toss your fucking salad without someone watching you.
Inside, Birmingham supporters trying to get out onto this outstanding...
From what I know about football hooligans, these firms see themselves as more than friends. Together as the Zulus, they become family, a tribe. It's the violence they face together that strengthens their bond. With no father around, maybe Barrington was looking for a sense of belonging with the Zulus. Barrington grew up in an inner city area called Handsworth. Every Sunday, he goes to visit his mum who still lives there.
You're glad it's my last fight?
Yes, I tell him to pack it in long time ago, but him say him love it, so that's why I leave him to it. You know, make him make up his mind when he's ready.
Enough's enough. I've had a good run. I've had a brilliant run. I've been fighting for 17, 18 years.
Barrington's sister and nieces join him.
This is my daughter. We're not fighters, really. We just, we love the gym.
Church people.
We go to church, yeah.
We're trying to get him into it, but...
And I believe, by faith, he's coming through. He's coming through. Yes, he is.
They've got a long wait, man. As I say, man,
That's what you think.
Listen, as I say, man, I'm just too busy spending time looking good.
Even to be able to do the sport and the kickboxing that he does, and to get so far in it, he thinks it's him. It's not him. It's God.
Hold on, excuse me. I've done all the physical work.
But God's given you the strength and the health and the ability to do it all. So that's it.
It's all God.
I've done the most important part of it. He's given me the strength to get in the ring and fight, but I'm the one who's actually getting into the ring and fighting and coming away with a couple of bruises.
You're contradicting yourself.
Listen.
You just said he's giving you the strength to get in the ring and fight, but then you just said you're the one that's getting.
Yeah, but I'm the one who's getting the bruises, though, aren't I?
His family have clearly tried to steer him into what they think is the correct path in life. As his last fight approaches, Barrington has decided that he wants to give something back by using his skills to train up-and-coming fighters.
I do a lot of teaching. I help a lot in my kickboxing club, and I have a lot of one-to-one personal lessons myself. What I do, you know, like winning, and it's nice going to like tournaments, whatever, crowd tournaments, and helping the kids out, and it makes me feel a lot better. I feel nice and proud, knowing that I've helped that person to get that trophy to show his mum and dad. And it's nice to get another Barrington, another up-and-coming guy, doing the things that I used to do.
Tonight is going to be a big night at the Coventry Sky Dome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ultimate Challenge!
Fighters come from all over Europe to fight here. Barrington's come to see one of the fighters he's training, 20-year-old Danny Hudson. It's his first professional bout, and he's sounding confident.
Very glad Barrington could be here to watch it tonight. I plan to go out there and knock the guy out, you know, do what Barrington's taught me quite well.
It's been a high standard of fighting so far. And now, it's Danny's turn to take to the cage.
This is Danny in the cage. Watch it for Danny Hudson!
Get that jab going, Danny! Jab, Danny! Jab, Danny! Jab! Jab, Danny!
It soon becomes clear that Danny's outclassed.
Danny! Come on, Danny!
Barrington don't look too impressed.
Where's Danny? Just over there. Oh, I've got to give him a piece of my fucking mind.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I'll tell you what. That was fucking pathetic. Pathetic. You threw a high kick to the fucking goal with so much force, the goal was nowhere near you. You spun yourself round. What happened to your fucking groundwork? That went out the fucking window.
Got to work on your stand-up.
Your stand-up's gone out, gone out right out the fucking window, Daddy. Right out the fucking window, man. That was shit. That's the worst I've ever fucking seen you, mate. As soon as the guy put you under pressure, you crumbled, Danny. You crumbled. It's definitely back to the drawing board for Danny, man, you know what I mean? I don't think he even really left the drawing board today, so... It's one of them things, shit happens, and that's it.
This hard love approach is obviously all Barrington knows. Either way, I wouldn't want to be one of Barrington's students if they lose. And come to think of it, I wouldn't want to come up against him during a football riot or be thrown out of one of his pubs. But as this hard man prepares for his last fight, has he thought about what lies ahead? As Barrington watches his son play, his love for him is obvious. But I wonder if not having a father around has made Barrington the person he is today.
Like my dad, like I said, I didn't know my dad till I was 14 years old. I was in the house one day and this letter come through the door. My mum picked it up and threw it on the side. I was just curious why she threw a letter on the side. When I picked it up, opened the letter, and it was to do with some court case in London, something to do with my dad. Never seen my dad before. I had one picture of my dad, what my grandmother had. And me and a mate from the school bunged the train, stayed in the toilet, went to this courthouse in London, and that's when I met him when I was about 14 years old, yeah.
What was you told as a kid then about him? Nothing? Or...
I was just told that he was in jail. Stabbed the guy and was in jail.
And how was it, that first meeting? I mean, was you disappointed in it? Or?
Well, I went to the courthouse and I ain't got a clue what it looks like. I went to the courthouse and they said, oh, this case and that case and that. I just stood there like that. And then he turned around and looked at me and I looked at him and...
Sort of knew, did you?
Yeah, just sort of knew, yeah.
Barrington re-established a relationship with his father from that moment on, and they were very close, right up until his death in 2006.
It was nice to be there the actual day, the night he died. And I cried my eyes out. I'm a man just like everyone else.
With the memory of his dad driving him on, Barrington must now focus on the biggest challenge of his life. He's training like a madman for the last fight of his career. Coming up, Barrington gets in the ring one last time, but will it all go to plan? I've been spending time in Coventry with cage fighter Barrington Patterson as he trains hard for the last fight of his career. After years of honing his skills fighting on the streets as a football hooligan and nightclub doorman, Barrington is facing his toughest test, a once-in-a-lifetime crack at the world title.
How are you feeling about, going back to Holland?
I can't
wait to get out of here.
This is the guy I'm fighting next in Holland.
Is it?
Yeah, that's Bob the Terrible Scriber. Proper dirty fighter and everything.
Is he?
Yeah.
Have you fought him before?
No, I haven't fought him before. One of my idols.
Really?
Yeah. But he's coming out of retirement to fight me.
Most stereotypical hard men are all talk and no action. But this bloke definitely follows through with his threats. He won't let anything stand in the way of getting what he wants.
Rotterdam's Ahoy Arena is in for a battle. It's the location for this heavyweight terror. His opponent, legendary Dutch fighter Bob Schreiber, has come out of a 3.5-year retirement to take on Baz and is determined to make sure it's worth it.
I do everything to win, everything. I never quit.
Both men prefer to end their fights with a knockout, so it's going to be brutal.
I've wanted this fight from day one, but at least I finally got what I wanted now, and that's it. Yeah. All I want to do now is just go in with that belt, and that's it now.
And there's
my life story is completed.
The contest will be fought over 2 5-minute rounds, with the winner crowned King of the Ring. With the tension mounting, Baz enters the arena for his final battle. Finally, the waiting's over and the fight's on. 6 months of training is about to be put to the test. It's not long before Baz's violent streak kicks into play. This is looking like a mismatch. But Bob's saved by the bell.
Listen, you can take him. You could have won in that round, but don't worry. He's tired, Barrington. Barrington, he's tired.
Baz starts the second round as he ended the first, on top. But Bob fights back, landing some heavy blows. It looks like Baz may have blown his chance. This is a proper tear-up. It's every man for himself, and it's turning into a street fight, just how Baz likes it. Battered, bruised and bleeding, they both make it to the final bell. It's going to come down to a points decision, and it's on Bob's home turf. I'm not sure Baz has done enough. The relief's too much for him. All his hard work's been worth it. The story seems complete for Barrington. He's gone out a winner, and for now, at least, he seems satisfied with his lot.
That's it for me, man. End of.
Paramilitary terrorist, loyal friend, suspected killer. At one time, Sam McCrory was Britain's most wanted man.
I'm a good friend, I'm a bad fucking enemy.
This notorious ex-terrorist from Northern Ireland now lives in exile.
I want to find out what happens to a terrorist when they've lost the cause they're fighting for.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but it had to be done. I was dedicated to it.
They say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. I'm going to find out for myself.
I've come to the picturesque seaside town of Adair in Scotland to meet Sam McCrory, an ex-paramilitary terrorist from the war-torn streets of Belfast. The Troubles was a 25-year battle between Catholics and Protestants for control of Northern Ireland. With the British Army stuck in the middle, nearly 4,000 people were killed.
They have a bloodlust, and some of them certainly appear to be psychotic killers.
Paramilitary groups from both religions were involved in everything from riots to murder.
They were like football casuals, but they were football casuals with guns.
At the age of 18, Sam was recruited into the outlawed Ulster freedom fighters, alleged to have killed over 100 people. These were hardline Protestants who wanted Northern Ireland to remain under British rule. They fought the Catholic IRA with a brutal violence to stop Northern Ireland from becoming part of the Irish Republic. Sam became the most ruthless and dedicated soldier of his generation and went to the ultimate lengths for what he believed in.
He had a reputation for being a hands-on trigger person. There's no question about that.
We were the business. It was us. There was no banner in us.
I'd heard rumours that Sam was now living his life as an openly gay man. This is the first time he's ever told his story. Terrorist or freedom fighter. I'm going to meet the man and make up my own mind. Sam had arranged to meet me at the end of the promenade.
I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I never do know what to expect in these situations. The first meet's always the toughest. Sussing each other out, you know what I mean? But I don't know, who he's going to be with. I don't know if he's going to be on his own. All I do know is that he's late. At least it's nice and open here. There's a few people about, so I think I'm going to be all right. How are you, mate?
How you doing, Billy?
Good to meet you, bro.
Right, pal, how are you?
Pleasure, mate, yeah.
Good.
What a mad place to meet you.
Do you like it?
It's mad, mate, I tell you. It's quite a nice little setting, I've got
Beautiful,
to say. Yeah.
beautiful.
So you're going to take me on a little bit of a mission, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
Let's have it.
Where do you want to go? Do you want to go
I
to
don't know,
Mumbai?
mate. I'm in your hands. I'm in your hands.
Let's go.
All right, boys?
All right. Take him a fucking drive. Give him away, kidnap. We'll hold him for ransom.
I hope he was joking.
This is my local town. It's a fucking brilliant wee town.
Oh, you like this town, yeah?
Oh, brilliant, mate. People in there are really, really nice folk. And we're just heading up to my wee flat. I've been in it 7 years. I've only got one bit of hassle. So there's two guys trying to kill me, trying to shoot me dead outside my flat one night.
OK. That's all you fucking need, don't you?
Someone wanted to settle old scores with Sam after a bitter internal feud broke out in Belfast that led to him being exiled here in Scotland. It wasn't the IRA who shot at him, but someone fighting on the same side. Now he never gets a car to his front door and instead walks the last 100 yards. I was keen to get off the street and into the safety of his flat.
Hiya, pal. Hiya, pal.
Mate.
Then you come, pal.
Hello, mate. Nice little gaff. Nice and tidy.
Take a pew, mate.
He's bang on, he's sweet, isn't it? Thank God. It's always a bit nerve-wracking, you know what I mean? But actually, he's sweet as, he's good as gold. I feel a bit settled now.
Sam had something at the bottom of his wardrobe which gave a clue to the violent life he once led.
It's a Mark V. I'll stop an AK-47.
A Mark V, yeah?
Yeah.
So will that stop a bullet?
Yeah. Fucking hope so, it'll work.
I was going to say, don't really want to find
just
out, really,
put it up
do you?
over your head here. There you go.
One of them ones, yeah? So you just whack that underneath your top, yeah?
Yeah, that's all.
God, I won't feel very confident in that if someone's going to take a shot at me.
That's it.
It's still going to prop her out, though, isn't it? You're going to go over, aren't you?
Well, if we're anyway fucking clever, they'll shoot you in the head.
Yeah, mate. A mad thing to have in your house, though, isn't it?
That's just a way of life.
Yeah,
and
of course.
it's just later. I haven't worn it. I only wore it when I went to Belfast. My dad was in hospital. I come up on this Shagger Road and my mates went out here putting that on because it was the longest feed on. And I put it on, put my jacket up over it. And that was it. And then they just said, take it back with you. And it's fucking laying there. It's not illegal.
Yeah, of course.
It's fucking illegal about it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Of course, naughty that, isn't it?
Coming up, Sam risks his safety by taking me to Belfast.
Don't film it, don't. I'll take it off you. Take the camera off you.
Have you any identification with you at all?
And I can't deny it to you. I'm scared.
The struggle of the IRA has been well documented. But I'm on a journey to find out more about the other side, the loyalists who fought the IRA with a brutal terror of their own.
I'm a good friend, I'm a bad fucking enemy.
Sam McCrory was a gunman in the Ulster Freedom Fighters' notorious unit, C Company. But after a bitter feud with his own organisation, he now lives in exile in Scotland, and his violent past still haunts him.
2 guys tried to kill me, tried to shoot me dead outside my flat one night.
Sam grew up in Belfast in the 70s during the height of the Troubles. He was part of a lost generation, desensitised to violence after witnessing atrocities from a young age.
I grew up seeing British soldiers coming into my country, right? Houses burning, buses being burnt, rioting, shootings. Right, so I was about 4 or 5. My dad was a vigilante, right? The main vigilante Dyer, right? To protect you from what we believe were their enemy, who was the nationalist community, Republicans, Catholics, nationalists. We grew up at an age when you were about 5 or 6, you went round the doors and used to collect all the milk bottles, because the men would have made petrol bombs that night to defend their area. Maybe a couple of men will give you a couple of bob to go to a shop to get yourself sweets for doing a job. You were just up every day. If you weren't collecting milk bottles, you were throwing stones over a barricade.
Teenagers like Sam are often sucked into political violence.
Just drummed in you. Yeah. We just thought Catholics were the enemy, and they thought the same as us, we're the enemy.
Yeah. Sam and his friends were the new generation of Protestants from the Shankill Road. More militant, more dedicated, and more violent than anyone before.
No surrender! The IRA had the upper hand, so we decided to fight fire with fire and fight the IRA on a level battlefield, and they didn't like it.
The man behind the balaclava in this old news footage is allegedly Sam McCrory. Filmed on operation for C Company in the early 90s. C Company was run by Johnny Mad Dog Adair, Sam's best friend and military commander. Together, they would turn C Company from a renegade outfit into the most feared Protestant paramilitary unit the Troubles had ever seen.
2 masked gunmen walked into this pub, shouted trick or treat, and began firing indiscriminately. Catholics and Protestants had been drinking and socialising without division, and they were killed together. When the gunmen ran out of ammunition, they paused, reloaded, and began firing all over again.
This brutal C Company shooting was in retaliation for an IRA bomb in the Shankill Road that killed men, women, and children. Tit-for-tat murders plagued the community. Many innocent people were wrongly targeted or caught in the crossfire.
People will tell you violence is wrong, right? But I once had a policeman tell me, if you believe in it, you can't take that belief away. And I had a strong belief. What I was doing was right. I didn't do it to fill my pockets full of money. I mean, I risked my freedom and I risked my life. So to do what I done. I mean, and I'm not proud of what I done, but it had to be done. I was dedicated to it.
But Sam lived a double life. Not only did he have to fight to protect his country, he had to fight to hide his sexuality. Being gay at the time in Belfast wasn't accepted, and being a terrorist made it even worse.
So you're openly gay, yeah?
You are.
Yeah. And what was that like in the UDA? I mean,
well, that was like a double life, because I found it very hard. Because see over there, because of the political situation, the sectarian situation, gays, they weren't needed. It was like, here's another problem. You know what I mean? There's enough fucking political problems. Who are these people? I think some of my close friends knew. You know what I mean? But it was very hard to keep inside yourself.
It must have been really tough.
You know what I mean? It was dead secretive. And plus, I had to watch where I was going.
Of course.
Because of who I was and where I was attached to. But obviously because your tattoos and all. You know what I mean?
These tattoos are symbols of Sam's political affiliations and made going out in public difficult.
Being gay, I had to watch who was socialising with, where I was going. You know what I mean? Just in case somebody decided to set you up and get you fucking banged. You know what I mean?
What was the first tattoo that you had?
My very first tattoo was a Swift. My very last tattoo was one on my dick.
You winding me up?
No.
You got one on your dick?
Yeah. I got it.
Fuck it.
That's my very last tattoo.
Fucking, what is it?
An anchor.
An anchor?
Anchor. So when he used it, I turned and said, can I weigh me anchor in?
I didn't expect that. Fuck, mate. That's mental.
Well, first impressions, obviously, he's a passionate man. You know, I've also heard that he's gay as well, and I just didn't know how that was going to work. And you know, you just get images in your brain, but actually, you know, he's fascinating. You know, it's early days yet, but I'm sure this guy's really going to. He's really going to freak me out, not in a bad way.
I took some time out down the arcade to get my head together. Meeting Sam had opened up a lot of questions. Was I just another Englishman trying to understand the Irish troubles? I need to be at the top of my game because tomorrow, Sam wants to take me back to Belfast to show me the streets where he grew up. Since moving to Scotland, he's only been back a handful of times, and always with strict security precautions in place. The danger is real, but Sam wants to show me what he fought and nearly died for. To understand his new life today in exile, I've got to go to Belfast to see it with my own eyes.
Obviously, he doesn't live there no more. He can't live there no more. He's got a lot of enemies in Belfast. And it just makes me a bit wary. I feel safe around him, but yet when we start going to Belfast, it's a whole new ball game. And I can't deny it to you. I'm scared.
It's 6 a.m. the next morning and the start of our journey.
Looking forward to it. Strange feeling getting back home. So that I slept like a log, but I was waking like that, me pretty excitement in my stomach.
For security precautions, I'll travel to Belfast separately. I often get recognised, and I don't want to jeopardise the whole trip by drawing attention to him. Sam's chosen to take the ferry to avoid any hassle from the police at the airport.
It's just one of these things, your past just comes back to haunt you most of the times. And as far as I'm concerned, which rightly so, I'm a convicted terrorist.
Lots of things were racing through my mind, to be honest. I wasn't exactly looking forward to hanging out in Belfast with a film crew and an ex-paramilitary terrorist. As Sam gets closer to port, he's more worried about being stopped by the police. Even though he's doing nothing wrong, he could still be detained for hours under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. And just when he thinks he's made it on board safely, disaster strikes.
Whoa! Don't film it, don't. I'll take it off you, take your camera off you.
Sam's been recognised by a policeman and stopped.
Have you any identification with you at all?
Yeah.
Just handy. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thank you very much. Thought I recognised the jug, that was all. It's been a while, Sammy.
It has, it's been a while.
Thought I recognised the face.
I know, I noticed you selling there,
I just wanted to satisfy my curiosity.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Thanks a lot.
How long are you over filming?
Just a day. Just a day. Coming back tomorrow.
Have any hassle?
Nah. Just going to do my documentary and that's it. Back home.
No problem. Right, we'll let you get on, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, sir. See ya.
Thank you.
You noticed my face and I'm wearing sunglasses. You look at that photo, that was me 10 years ago. Look at me now. I've hair there, shaved head now. I've a tattoo on my face there. Well, I've no tattoos, but he still need me. So he's like, strange, isn't it?
After being stopped, the reality of what he's doing hits home.
If I'm born to be shot dead in Belfast, I'm not going to fucking drown in the sea. And that's just fact of life. These people don't frighten me, they don't worry me. I don't give them a second thought. So Belfast is a long, distant memory for me. I have good memories and I have bad memories.
Accompanying Sam on the trip is Dougie, a good friend and associate.
Well, I don't anticipate any problems with, obviously, Sammy's various death threats.
But despite what might lie ahead, Sam's in high spirits.
No chance. If I was caught with a firearm, I would get 25 years in prison.
I've landed in Belfast, and on my way from the airport, the cab driver shows me the mean streets where Sam learned how to be a soldier.
So, Donny, first time to Belfast, yeah?
Yes, mate.
Yep.
Yep, never been here before.
You like it?
I feel quite safe in your cab anyway, yeah? Good man.
I haven't lost a passenger yet.
That's what I like to hear.
Cabbies have their own place in history in Belfast. It was often an easy way to tell a person's religion, so driving the streets was like running the gauntlet.
Say maybe the IRA fund a Protestant taxi firm to pick someone up, then they killed him.
Really?
You know, so there was many taxi drivers killed. I'm from a Shankill Road, so I couldn't go into the falls and have a pint of beer.
Okay.
Even though there's no way of telling the difference, you're not going to put yourself in a position where you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, of course.
The Protestant Shankill Road and Catholic Falls Road were the main hotspots for sectarian violence.
It was one of the two roughest roads in Western Europe. The Falls was the other one, the running parallel. It was a war zone, frankly. I mean, there was incidents every single day, whether it was shootings, attempted shootings, whether it was bombings, whether it was hijackings, whether it was riots. You had everything there.
Back on the boat, there's still time for last-minute planning.
See, when we get to Belfast, I'm going to show you where we're going to go, OK? This is a peace line here. It's Catholic, and the bottom part of it's Protestant. North Belfast was called the Murder Triangle, so it was. It goes in a triangular shape, and there was that much killings. It was a very, very bad area for both religions. Catholics and Protestant committing murders.
There's a bit of history in there.
Yep. Belfast is history.
Who would have thought? Folded up in there, 3,500 lives.
Once in Belfast, Dougie has made preparations so nothing will happen to Sam.
I don't see anybody running up the high street with an AK-47, but it would be a crowd roaring about Sammy, and that's where the danger would start, so I'll get people ready to move him within 5 minutes.
I'm hearing firsthand that the potential death threat is not exaggerated.
So do you think that the likes of Skelly would be welcome back here?
No.
Never?
Never. Not all of what's happened. You know, definitely not. Them boys just have to stay away, and anyone who left Belfast to go with Johnny Adair and all, they've made a decision, and they'll not be welcome back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a young lad who went along with him, and he was told he was safe to come back, and he came back and they killed him. So that's a message to the rest of them.
Yes.
You know what will happen?
Fucking hell. I know he's a bit paranoid about coming back here, obviously, for obvious reasons. Now, whether I'll be a target because I'm with him, I don't know.
Coming up, reality bites in Belfast.
I fired 33 rounds, a hacker and cock rounds, and rattled the side of the car. So it was just basically fucking chaos in this bridge.
It's obviously a very emotional thing for him.
I'm in Belfast waiting for the arrival of ex-terrorist Sam Skelly McCrory. I've already found out that he's not welcome here.
Anyone who left will not be welcome back.
I've got to say, I quite like Belfast. It's been nice for me. I don't feel under threat at all, but, you know, bringing Sam into the mix, that changes things a little bit. I know that.
Sam had already been stopped in Scotland.
Is there any identification with you at all?
And I didn't know if he'd made it over yet in one piece.
Just intrigued to see how his journey was, you know. I'm sure it wasn't as smooth as mine. Here he is, I think. Here he is, yeah.
Hello, man. How you doing?
How you doing, sunshine?
Okay, mate. How was your journey?
Oh, mine was sweet as a nut. How was your journey?
Fucking shocking. Don't be surprised, within the next 24 hours we'll get stopped in North and West Belfast.
You think so?
Well, they'll expect me to be in that area making a documentary because it's about my life.
They're on us, are they?
Yeah.
Well, let's jump in the motor then and slip off lively.
No
Let's go.
With no time to lose, we hop into the car with blacked out windows and head off.
Right now, just watch it.
I'm an outlaw. Quick on the draw.
Not this one, the next one. To the right.
The first thing Sam wants to do is something he's never done before in his life. Openly cross the religious divide between Protestant and Catholic neighbourhoods.
This is what the fighting is, a gate. So, this is me in a loyalist area, and I'm now getting into a Republican area. And this road was used on numerous occasions by both sides of religious divide for killings, bombings, whatever went on through the phalanx. They said this is why they erected these gates. And they used to close at 7 o'clock at night, so you couldn't get through here. Fucking crazy, isn't it?
To keep the two religious communities separated and prevent sectarian murders, huge concrete walls were built, known as peace lines. Some are 40 feet high and over 3 miles long.
Really understand how much hatred there is when you have to build a wall to separate human beings at the end of the day. You know, it's pretty drastic measures. And it's only when you see it and how high it is when it really hits home, you know? Sad state of affairs.
The sooner I'm taking stupid things down, the better. Right? But I'm quite enjoying this. So,
The craziness of the whole political situation was becoming clear to me. Sam is a product of his environment, but if he'd been born on the other side of the fence, it would be a different story.
This here was nationalist and Republican, and I was born here. So as you can see, if I'd have been born 50 yards that way, I'd have probably been the IRA. So I'll fight the British. I'll tie close.
It's still early in the morning, and Sam decides it's safe to visit his old stomping ground. This estate was the power base for C Company, the most feared paramilitary unit the Troubles had ever witnessed.
Different memories coming here. I've actually don't even give it much thought anymore. But this was my old stomping ground, this place here. This was the heart and the base of 2nd Battalion C Company. But sadly it is no more. Used to be our office, now a house, but it used to be our office. This is where everything took place. Organised street demonstrations, military operations. This was it all here.
In the early 90s, the area was heavily patrolled by the army, but it wasn't enough to stop C Company from allegedly murdering as many as 100 Catholics.
The men in the black balaclavas ruled these streets of West Belfast, and the man in charge was Johnny Mad Dog Adair, the feared military commander of C Company.
Skelly and Johnny were extremely close. I mean, each of them knows where the other secrets are buried.
Sam and Johnny's friendship was unbreakable, and together they would take their political struggle to an unprecedented level of brutality.
Johnny Adair will always be my close and loyal best friend in the world. I will never ever betray him. He's my friend and I love him to death.
Sam's other close friend was Steve McKeague, aka Top Gun, who died of a drug overdose in 2000.
He was a dedicated loyalist, okay? A good friend and a dedicated loyalist and a cracking member of 2nd Battalion C Company.
They had an award ceremony for Volunteer of the Year, and McKee used to win it constantly in the 1990s. He was one of the most ruthless assassins the Troubles has produced, but Skelly would have been up there with him.
It was just quite sad that Stevie's not around anymore.
It was dawning on me how important friendship and loyalty was to Sam. He was even prepared to kill or be killed for it. Although there is peace now, many people are still coming to terms with the past. Their history is painful and not easy to forget. And I got the impression that for Sam, this trip had unearthed some painful memories of his own. At the age of 27, Sam's career as a paramilitary terrorist came to an abrupt end on a bridge in South Belfast. It was also nearly the end of his life.
I was caught at 10 to 7 in the morning with an AKM assault rifle, an SMG double magazine, and a Browning 9mm 20-shot double magazine, and a sledgehammer, going on a military operation.
Where was you on your way to?
I was heading into West Belfast, National Republic in West Belfast. We had a target to eliminate.
Oh, you was on your way to okay, gotcha.
The authorities believe Sam's unit was on the way to assassinate a high-level IRA figure. After a tip-off, they were ambushed by a SWAT team armed to the teeth and prepared to use deadly force to stop them.
I remember getting the ridge of the bridge, and I seen the fucking police car, and it was parked across the bridge. They started firing at the car. We jumped out the bottom of the car to run back away, and the car was sliding along the bridge, and all the bullet holes were in the side of the car, and all you heard, and they fired 33 rounds, a hacker and cock rounds. The driver gets shot in the leg. One of my arm men gets knocked down, so it was just basically fucking chaos in this bridge.
Really?
I thought it was an Oliver.
Yeah, you thought that was, yeah.
And more so even when I was on the ground, he was pushing the gun in the back of my head, and he was going, "You're dead, you bastard, you're dead."
It's a fucking story, that is fucking hell.
Sam was sentenced to 16 years for conspiracy to commit murder and possession of firearms with intent to endanger life.
The Crown opposed bail because of the risk of further offences, given what he called the murderous activities of the UFF.
Sam was sent here to the most secure prison in Northern Ireland, the Maze. Inside its walls were some of the most dangerous men in the country, responsible for bombings, directing terrorism, and cold-blooded murder.
I've heard a lot about this place, seen a lot of it on the news, but when you actually get here, it looks so intimidating, grey, and just like, you know, we haven't been given permission to film in there, so it isn't such a bad thing, really. I don't really fancy walking about in there, you know.
There was 52 people on the two wings, and I knew 40 of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were from Ashaka Road, who were my friends.
Yeah.
That was our home, so we made it our home. When you look at those prisons, they're all working class boys. Both sides. Republican lawyers, there's no fucking upper class or middle class people in jail.
No.
The Maze's reputation as a hellhole was a far cry from the reality of incarceration on Sam's wing. They enjoyed privileged status as political prisoners and even had conjugal rights. Sam was regularly visited each month by his partner, Harry.
The authorities, I think, turned a blind eye to what was going on in the Maze. I mean, they had everything. They had drugs, they had mobile phones. I mean, they had conjugal visits. They bribed prison officers. They could have sex with their partners. All this happened. One Halloween, I think it was 1998, they had a firework display. And people reported driving on the motorway past the prison seeing fireworks flying into the air. This was not the top security prison that people thought it was.
It was said that some of the best parties in Northern Ireland took place inside. Believe it or not, these party photos were taken inside the Maze and show the summer barbecue that Protestant prisoners and their families held annually.
I just walked into a room and there was a table and the two boys are sitting there, Skelly and Johnny, covered in tattoos, of course, and their shorts, and looked as if they were on holiday. They could have been in Ibiza.
This is probably going to sound really fucking strange. Some of my happiest moments were in there.
Really?
Some of my funniest times were in there. There were some good laughs.
It's a shock, really. You know, it's prison. At the end of the day, it is prison. You're losing your freedom. It's a punishment. It's actually, it wasn't that vibe, clearly. But these are very powerful people who still had a big sound society even behind here.
Sam was a military commander inside the Maze, and one of the prisoners' Secretary of State, Mo Molan, visited for controversial peace talks.
You can film this place up and down the two wings. You can ask anybody what they want. They'll answer the questions for you, lad.
In 1998, Sam was released along with 428 other prisoners as part of the historic Good Friday Agreement. It was an uncomfortable moment for many in Northern Ireland, but essential for peace and reconciliation.
What you did was inhuman. Try to become human again.
Sam had lost 7 years of his life inside the maze, and his only concern now was to spend time with his partner Harry, who was deathly ill after a car crash. He shunned the glare of the media spotlight and moved to Scotland to be with him before it was too late.
I come over here and I looked after my partner. I moved here on a Sunday and I nursed him till he died the 10th of January 1999. So he died on a Sunday morning. I was in love with the guy was in love with me, and we worshipped each other. Death is a strange thing. I should have been used to it. I've lost that many people, but I'll never forget him. I'll never ever forget that day. And yeah, he was a lovely man, he was a delightful man, and he'd give me the earth and I'd give him the stars out of the sky.
Before returning to Scotland, Sam has one last thing to do. He wants to pay tribute to his fallen comrades and friends who were killed during the Troubles.
There's an awful lot of loyalist paramilitaries buried here. This is like their graveyard.
Almost 4,000 people lost their lives in Northern Ireland during 25 years of political violence.
I always find it quite, it's quite a moment coming to a cemetery anyway, you know, so it's always a bit, whole mood changes, it all gets a bit tense, but, I mean, he's a tough guy, you know, but you can't help but think, you know, get a sense that he's, you know, it must be a moment for him to come over here, you know, he's sort of, I've left him to it, really. He's just wandering about looking for Top Gun's grave now. It's obviously a very emotional thing for him. You know, I don't want to question him too much, you know? Just let him get on with it. It's been a sobering journey for me. I understand now that Sam was a foot soldier in a political struggle that had spiralled out of control. Death was commonplace, and lots of innocent people were caught up in the violence. When peace eventually broke out in Northern Ireland, Sam couldn't share in it and was forced into permanent exile in Scotland, where the next chapter of his life awaited as an openly gay man. Coming up.
Yo! Bastard, it got away! Yo, got it, Link! Check that out! Don't want blood in the hands.
I meet Johnny Mad Dog Adair.
Next thing, boom, someone came up behind me and shot me in the head.
Oh, fucking hell. Mad Dog. I mean, it says it all, really, doesn't it?
I'm a gay icon.
Sam McCrory was a member of a paramilitary terrorist group in the 80s and 90s, allegedly responsible for murdering as many as 100 people. In Belfast, I discovered the brutal and at times surreal environment that made him. But I still didn't know if he had any regrets about his actions or how he reconciled his violent past with his peaceful future.
Sam is a complex individual. You know, he's definitely a tough lad, there's no two ways about that, but there's a softer side to him, you know, that I'm very curious about.
Sam lives in exile amongst the fishermen and seaside cafes in Scotland. He's still under death threat from enemies in Belfast and unable to benefit from a peaceful Northern Ireland, which he fought for at great personal cost. His best friend, Johnny Adair, joined Sam in 2000, and his arrival in this sleepy town caused an uproar.
Even the local police don't know where in Ayrshire the mob are currently holed up, but they are worried it won't be long before they make their presence felt.
Excuse me, turn that camera off. Turn the camera off.
Johnny Adair lives in the next village 5 miles away from Sam, and I asked to meet him. These two had fought together, been to prison together, and nearly died together. But there was no one else who was closer to Sam who could throw some light on what made him tick.
You don't knock, I just go on in.
You just go in, yeah?
I go on in, that's my best mate. You don't knock. Danny.
Johnny,
Johnny,
Pleasure.
All right, it's good to see you.
Pleasure, man. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for letting me up in your house, man.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful gaff.
True.
Sunny True.
Famous for golf and then famous for Johnny Adair.
Yeah. Nice. Nice, lovely round here, isn't it?
Tiger Woods along comes to play us golf.
Are you good at golf? Is he any good, Sam, or what?
No, I'm not
I don't play golf.
You know?
It's good at other things, but it's not golf.
So what is it,
I know how close you two are, you know what I mean? But what was he like as a mate, you know?
It's like being married to someone.
Yeah.
I believe personally that you'll only ever in a lifetime find one true love. Like your wife, if you're in love, right, you marry her, you'll only find that once in a lifetime. But people like Sama, you'll only find, as a friend, you'll only find that once in a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a fact, that's a
rare
fact.
thing.
We can all say we've got hundreds of mates and all, but through experience I know, I had all these mates, I had thousands of mates, but when the chips were down, when I had nothing to offer these people, the names were out. Do you understand what I mean? But with Sam, see, someone can take you with bread or someone can take you with butter. He'll always be there for you.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about him.
Their friendship was nearly ended in 1999 when Johnny was shot at a UB40 concert.
We had an amazing time. And then this horrible song from UB40, it's a song I hate, it's called The Train Is Coming or something. All I heard was choo 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 choo. Next thing, boom, someone came up behind me and shot me in the head. Luckily for me, it was a damp round, so therefore there was not enough powder in the shell to actually blow my brains out, so it just went into my head and travelled up and just lodged there. That was it, just got to the hospital, and lucky enough they took the round out and I was alive to fight another day. Our life was just constantly being harassed by security forces or being targeted by the Republican movement, and it's really hard. It's unlike football hooligans where it's every Saturday. This was every night, 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just volunteered for operations. We never questioned orders that we were given, and obviously we were good at what we did. And well, Sammy was never a man for a rank. He was more a foot soldier than a. He was more a giver than a taker. No, you know what I mean?
You're mad, you bastard.
I had to keep reminding myself that I was standing in a kitchen with two of the most notorious terrorists from Northern Ireland. They've never been charged with any specific murder and were reluctant to talk to me about certain details.
Understand legally we can't.
Legally,
absolutely.
No, we can't. No, we fucking can't.
No, the rumour has it, no?
No, rumour has it.
What remains unsaid speaks volumes about the dark secrets that Sam and Johnny must share. Hearing them talk so casually about political violence, even cracking jokes, was a mad, surreal experience. And I felt drained afterwards.
Oh, fucking hell. Mad dog. I mean, it says it all, really, doesn't it? And I'm just, I was very interested to see what their relationship was like. And, you know, it's obvious they've been through a lot of shit together, these two.
Today in Scotland, Sam is determined to make the most of his freedom and live life to the full.
Sit down, you fucking behave. Yo! Got it, Link! Sit down, Link! Come here, you slippery fuck. Fuck's he is real amateurs. Don't want blood in my hands. It's a good laugh, and 21 in my cup. So I'm well pleased.
After years of having to hide the fact he's gay, he's openly embracing his sexuality and wants the world to see a new side to him.
Joe! Again. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Joe.
Enjoying this
All right, how are you?
How's things?
All right, fantastic. The only person I know that's gay in Ayrshire is me and him, as far as I know.
We're going for a drink and all, like, we're good buddies now. Just goes for your reputation. We have to look good. He's an icon, I'm an icon.
I'm a hate figure.
I'm a gay icon, so
Every year he attends gay pride marches around the country and has been welcomed by the gay community.
I just believe in equality for everybody. Gays, straight people, black, white, Asian, Indian. You know, we should all be able to live in a multicultural society without prejudice. Lots of people in the gay community up and down this country who know what I was and they don't judge me that, they judge me as I am today. My past is my past till the day I die. That will follow me. I can't change it. I can live with what I've done, and I can move on. I hope the rest of the community can move on, and the rest of society can move on.
There are no winners and losers in Northern Ireland's history. In the battle for hearts and minds, thousands of people lost their lives. Some will never forgive Sam for his actions, nor will they forget. But he wants the world to see he's a changed man. His past will never go away, but Sam has an opportunity to make amends for the future. The final chapter in Sam McCrory's life has not yet been written. I've spent time with some dodgy geezers so far, but now I'm waiting to meet a man who's risked his life to keep villains like them banged up.
In his 10 years as an undercover policeman, this bloke was responsible for taking down dozens of villains and helped stop millions of pounds worth of drugs hitting the streets of London.
Undercover work is exciting, it's scary, it's intoxicating.
He was one of Scotland Yard's finest, and he went deeper undercover than any other detective before him.
He's in danger. Move him, move his family, move them quickly.
With each job he took and each role he played, he risked not only his life, but his sanity.
The price that you pay for a bad performance could be your life.
But how long can you spend living a double life before it takes control of you? This guy was able to lurk in the shadows while he threw the spotlight onto the bad guys. He's agreed to speak openly about the secretive role of being an undercover cop. His name is Peter Bleksley, but he's known as Blex. Cautioning drunks and arresting shoplifters as your average bobby on the streets of London can be pretty scary. But going undercover, getting up close and personal with the bad guys and then double-crossing them, that's just damn right deadly. Blex joined the police force for one very good reason. It wasn't to help little old ladies across the street, it was to get the bad guys off them.
I put hundreds of people away for thousands of years.
He's had petrol bombs and bricks thrown at him. He's been shot at and even stabbed in the neck. Peter Bleksley excelled as a detective and went on to become one of the founding members of Scotland Yard's elite undercover force, SO10.
He didn't look like your kind of clean-cut image of a traditional detective or a traditional policeman.
Using the skills he honed from being an undercover cop, today Blex continues to put his life on the line working as a private eye.
Peter's still putting his own life at risk, but he enjoys it. You know, he knows what he's doing.
When he's not doing that, he works as a consultant on films and cop dramas.
All the best scripts come from people who've really lived their lives because you can't make it up.
Life's never normal for these guys doing this dangerous and secretive work. Now, Peter's asked to meet me here. Feel a little bit uneasy. Feel like I'm being watched, I'll be straight with you. He's probably been sitting here an hour. You never know with coppers, do you? You know what I mean?
Why would a man who has spent most of his career undercover want to show his face on TV?
Here we go. Looks like a copper and all. How you doing, Pete?
Thanks, how are you?
Good, mate, yeah, good as gold.
There's something really intense about this guy. Usually I like to get to know someone before I delve too deep, but Blex don't mess about. He starts off telling me about one of his dead informants.
He was such a prolific informant. I mean, he'd grass up his granny if there was a few quid in it. Well, he grassed up so many people that in the end, he was asking for it, you know what I mean? And when it happened, it came as no surprise to me personally.
Squealer, snitch, grass, whatever you want to call them. Informants are a necessary evil in the battle against crime, and undercover cops can't work without them. It was Bleksley's job to keep them sweet and get information out of them. For his safety, he'd meet them in public places.
So this is the pub where you used to meet then, is it?
Yeah, we had many meetings in there, you know, discussing who he was going to grass up next and how we were going to get him nicked.
I mean, how would you go about recruiting an informant? I mean, how would the process work?
Well, a lot of them are volunteers. I mean, and many of them find themselves getting nicked. And I think, well, the best way to get a vastly reduced sentence is to roll over and become a grass.
The information given would often lead to Blex going undercover to try and catch big-time drug dealers in action. But sometimes that meant having to break the law himself.
So where do you draw the line?
Well, when you're working undercover, there's no rule book. You know, a lot of the time you've got to make it up as you go along. And you've got to do whatever is necessary to keep your cover. Yes, I had a spliff. Yeah, I took a line of Charlie occasionally when I was with the bad guys. But only because if I hadn't, it would have been a deal breaker.
Sounds like an okay job to me. But I'm not sure how you can be a copper and a villain at the same time. He had to appear to be as ruthless as the criminals he was double-crossing, but it's a dangerous game that only the fearless dare enter. Coming up, Blex gets up close and personal with the wrong end of a double-barreled shotgun.
This was probably as close as I ever got to losing my life.
He comes face to face with an old enemy on the streets of Brixton.
I remember throwing all kinds of missiles. I saw the police running away.
And I pick up a few tips on surveillance.
You could slip off now. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to look away or what? I mean, I'd have a good fight.
Peter Bleksley is one of Britain's toughest ex-undercover cops. He did what he did for the adrenaline, for the high, the addictive buzz that only putting your life on the line could provide. Throughout his undercover career, he took on many different disguises to help him get into character.
I always had quite a wide and varied wardrobe just to suit whatever role I was playing. I've kind of kept this leather jacket for sentimental reasons. I've had this many, many years, and I wore that on many a drugs buy or when I was pretending to be a contract killer.
His physical appearance also kept changing to suit each role he took on.
You have to maintain being that person. And if you're being particularly unpleasant, and I'm sorry about this, pal, but I've got to stick you up against the wall and give you a rub down now, because you could be undercover old Bill, you might be a Mickey Mouse kind of donut with a 9mm on you. You know, I've got to do that, pal. Get up against the wall, right? You'd have to do that, you know, and I wouldn't treat people in normal life like that. But, you know, I'm out there buying millions of pounds worth of drugs, you know what I mean? I'm not playing a game, you know, when your life depends on it, other people's lives might depend on your performance, then you have to be thoroughly, utterly, totally convincing.
Peter's choice of career clearly isn't for the faint-hearted. You have to be tough, dedicated, and not afraid of anything.
So when was it that you decided to go into the police force?
Well, my mum actually was quite a strong influence in me joining the cops. You know, I think she knew that I was, you know, a bit of a lost soul kind of thing, you know, and I needed some discipline to sort of sort me out.
Peter graduated top of his class at Hendon College and was posted to Peckham Police Station.
South East London, social deprivation, a lot of racism going on. There was a large Afro-Caribbean community in Peckham. And, you know, the cops, the people I was working with, were basically just rampant racists.
I wanted to find out a bit more about Peter's early life as a copper. So I've come to a place that was instrumental in shaping his career, the streets of Brixton. In April 1981, Brixton was an area that had deep social and economic problems, high unemployment, high crime and poor housing.
The police focused disproportionately on young black men. And in Brixton, the police launched Operation Swamp. And basically what they did was got every policeman they could muster onto the streets of Brixton, with the instructions to stop and search young black men. Now, this caused a huge amount of resentment because young black guys couldn't walk the streets without being stopped, searched, harassed, and quite often fitted up for crimes that they hadn't committed.
The stop and search, or sus law, caused much discontent in the black community and tensions were running high. On the 10th of April 1981, a police patrol stopped to help a black youth who had been stabbed in the back. The onlooking crowd thought the police stopped to arrest rather than assist the youth. Rumours spread and violence erupted.
Now, I played a cop on TV, but I wouldn't fancy playing one of the boys in blue that has to tackle a rioting mob.
Was a scene unknown in the United Kingdom outside Ulster since the Blitz.
Peter was part of the response team called in to calm the hostile crowd.
What was the scene like when you first arrived? Got here in the afternoon. A small but vocal and violent crowd had gathered, and the police had had a bit of a hiding. And when we got here, the crowd had started slinging bricks and stones and bottles, anything they could lay their hands on. The resentment and the hatred, you could really cut the atmosphere with a knife. The hatred, the seething hatred amongst the crowd for us was unbelievable. We had some shields, so we cowered behind them to start with, but they turned out to be pretty... Well, there wasn't enough of us, and there wasn't enough shields,
The police were not only outnumbered, they were also unprepared for the amount of artillery that would be used against them.
What had happened is overnight they'd armed themselves with petrol bombs and more rubble and all that sort of thing. So they came back on Saturday a much better armed and equipped and sort of organised mob, if you will.
So there was more police injured than rioters, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we as the police got an almighty hiding, really, if the truth be known. There was a lot of very bad injuries to the cops. But, it had been coming,
Yeah, so would you say it was a deserved hiding, really?
Well, yeah, we kind of asked for it. If you go onto the streets and you harass a section of the population till they feel they're forced into a corner and they've got nowhere to go and their voice can't be heard, then how are they going to express themselves? They're going to take to the streets and they're going to riot.
For 3 days and nights, the streets of Brixton were torn apart by one of the biggest riots to rock Britain's history. Reports suggested that up to 5,000 people were involved. 299 police and 65 members of the public were injured. 28 buildings were burnt and 61 cars set alight. Peter was lucky to escape without any physical injury, but the riots did leave some psychological impact.
I decided that this wasn't the policing that I wanted to do, to go to war with the local population. That wasn't my idea of policing.
Yeah.
So I just decided that's it. I'd had enough of uniform. I didn't want to wear that cloth, which was symbolic of the hatred that there was towards the police.
It was a major turning point in his life, and today, nearly 30 years on, Peter wants to set the record straight. Rioter Alex Wheatle went on the straight and narrow after the riots and is now a successful author. His award-winning novel, East of Acre Lane, was inspired by the Brixton riots.
I remember throwing all kinds of missiles along with whoever was around me at the time, and you guys having to go into people's front porches and gardens to try and get dustbin lids to protect yourselves. I saw the police running away, the helmets falling off and all that kind of thing.
At times, during that weekend, I was scared, very scared. Our training was wholly inadequate, the equipment was wholly inadequate. We had flimsy helmets, that didn't offer a lot of protection, and I was scared. How were you feeling?
Exhilarated.
Right.
Exhilarated to actually see the police retreat. I mean, we've never seen that.
Right.
Taking a step backwards. I mean, we cheered every step that you retreated. It was incredible to see that.
One very contentious issue that still causes debate amongst the police and rioters alike is the actual cause of the riots.
Was you aware of the rumours sweeping the whole of Brixton that night?
Well,
that the police had actually killed somebody?
Yes, yeah.
You was aware?
Yeah, and what we got told was that when the stabbed victim was lying on the road, that a cop knelt on his back and put his knee over the wound.
His knee, to stop the bleeding?
To stem the bleeding. That's what.
Okay.
That was what we were getting told. But then, of course, that was getting misinterpreted, that the cops were like, you know, pinning him down and were responsible in some way for what happened to him.
Each side has their own version of events, but there were some moments of clarity amongst the chaos on that day.
For the first time since I came to Brixton in 1977, I saw beyond the uniform.
Right.
I saw a real person, real fear, and I was thinking, well, maybe he's got a mother, maybe he's got a sister, maybe he's got a brother.
I can only speak for myself, but, you know, for any of the fit-ups, the beatings, you know, and all that kind of stuff, look back, and it's not too late to offer an apology, so I'm kind of, you know, I'm kind of, to anybody that was a victim, you know, of that at the time,
I'll accept that.
You know.
Allegations of racism within the Metropolitan Police continue to this very day. Peter is clearly a man with a conscience, and this was one role he didn't enjoy playing.
It's a first for me, really. I've never done a copper before. I'm always, just, you know, sort of dealing with, you know, the villains and, you know, it's more usually about talking the talk, walking the walk. You know, this guy, he's not what I expected him to be at all. He's got a lot of charisma about him. I can see that. I can see he's obviously, you know, seen some pretty dangerous things. You know, he's been around some dangerous people.
A year after the Brixton riots, Blex became a plainclothes detective and eventually made it onto Scotland Yard's drug squad. Soon he was kicking in doors and arresting people all over London. This form of high-octane and high-adrenaline policing came with its own risks, as Blex found out the hard way when one suspect took him by surprise.
And the door's flown open and he's seen me, you know, at his door, and I've shouted police, and with that he's just gone voomf and stabbed me in the neck. Well, fortunately, I got hold of his wrist, which has got the knife in it. And of course, on the end of the blade of the knife is my blood.
Is there little moments of like, as if you go, right, that was a close call, or?
No, not really. I think I, you know, had to stay off of work for a couple of days.
Yep.
You know, but I was just itching to get back to work, you know. I was addicted to the job.
Life as a detective suited Blex. He was always dangerous, and whilst he was out of uniform, he wasn't far from the front line. In May 1985, convicted murderer James Bagri escaped from Salton Prison near Edinburgh. Police had a tip-off that he'd been working as a builder, and Peter had just visited Bagri's last known address when he spotted a white van.
I stuck my head in through the van, and from beneath a blanket, a head popped up. And I reached for my gun, and I said, "I'm an armed police officer." And with that, Bagri just put his hands to the side and pulled up a sawn-off double-barreled shotgun. By this time, I'm in the van, he's set up, and the shotgun was literally a matter of inches from my face.
His police training kicked in. He kept his cool and ran out of the line of fire as fast as he could. He maintained cover and waited for backup. Negotiators set up a telephone link with Bagri in an attempt to get him to surrender. He'd been on the run for over a year, and he didn't want to go back to prison.
But as marksmen continued their long wait, there's been no sign of movement from the vehicle since yesterday.
After 44 hours, with no end in sight, police had no choice but to fire a couple of CS gas canisters into the van in an attempt to lure him out.
21 seconds after those gas canisters were fired, Bagri shot himself.
I think If I'd stayed at the back of the van any longer and tried to pull out my weapon, he'd have definitely shot me. This was probably as close as I ever got to losing my life in the line of duty.
I can't believe he remained so calm with a shotgun pointed in his face. The more I get to know Blex, the more I respect him. He's a proper hard man, and he doesn't scare easily. Life as a detective for Blex wasn't all about getting stabbed and having shotguns pulled on him. He also spent time interviewing victims, setting up wiretaps, and my personal favourite, surveillance.
Tell me a little bit about surveillance, Pete. Obviously, that was a very important part of your job, you know, so, I mean, just tell me a little bit about how that would work.
Yeah, well, in the police, surveillance was very important because surveillance teams would watch me when I was working undercover. They'd be there to cover my back.
And how do you manage to sort of blend into any environment?
It's about everything you do, how you speak, you know, how you act. And you've got to be able to you've got to be very flexible, you've got to be adaptable, you've got to be resourceful, you know, you've got to think on your feet.
Blex was very skilled at making himself invisible, a powerful weapon in this game. To give me an idea of how surveillance works, we're going to follow a member of our crew.
Here we go, there she is. She's into the vehicle. And the vehicle's off, down Rotterdam Road. So all units hold back, and she's done a right. I have eyeball. Hold back all units.
Is this the right distance, is it? I mean, obviously, it's quite close, I would have thought.
Well, yeah, unfortunately here, I'm a little bit exposed because I haven't got any other traffic for cover.
How many sort of motors would you have then? I mean, what, 3 motors? Would that be enough to swap over, you know, would that be enough to
Yeah,
not give the game away, would it?
We used to have teams of anything up to 17 of us.
Yep. OK. 17, God.
Yeah, so, you know...
That's a proper bit of surveillance out, isn't it?
So now, just quite naturally, you see, we're in a very sort of unhurried manner.
You see where the adrenaline comes from, mate. You know, what a job, you know what I mean? Keeps you on your toes, doesn't it?
Yeah. OK, so she's out of the vehicle. Right, let's go. Nice and natural. Don't draw attention to yourself. She's letting herself in with a key.
Obvious where she lives now, so you don't have to look over there, do you, so much?
Well, she might not be living there, she might be visiting there.
OK.
You know, well, she's got a key and let herself in, you know. Assumption is the death of all investigations. And there you see she's opening her curtains up there.
Job of a voyeur, I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, on the off chance you could strip off now. I mean, what are you going to do? You going to look away or what? I mean, I'd have a good pipe.
Well, you know, you're there to gather intelligence for your client,
That's
aren't you?
right.
You know?
And if that means she's got to take a few bits off, then you've got to get that information back, I would have thought.
Coming up, Blex tells me how the biggest drug bust of his career...
It took me about 4 hours to test all those 30 parcels.
...turned out to be his last.
He's in danger. Move him, move his family, move them quickly.
And I get a taste of what it's like to go undercover.
I don't know you from fucking Adam. Listen, this is the bollocks I don't want. I don't want all this fucking bollocks.
Peter Bleksley was an undercover cop up against some of the deadliest gangsters and drug pushers in the UK. He bent the rules, but he got results. Crossing the line meant risking his life to keep his cover.
The job is extremely dangerous. When you're dealing with serious criminals, you're dealing with serious amounts of money, you're dealing with drugs, you're dealing with firearms, you're dealing with organised crime. Without any shadow of a doubt, their lives are at risk.
Hard drugs like heroin and crack became easily available in Britain in the 80s. It was Blex's job to get the drugs off the streets, and sometimes this meant using undercover tactics. By 1987, Scotland Yard realised that it needed a full-time undercover unit.
We got hold of about half a dozen guys who had done undercover work. Peter Bleksley was one of these guys that we pulled in, and we said, look, tell us what it is you do, tell us how you do it, tell us what you need to do it better.
To make it in the undercover world, Blex had to be more than the average detective.
We needed people who could act, could really be convincing. You know, walk into a pub and when someone stabs you in the chest and you know that that man may have a gun or may be a serious criminal, and he says, "You are a copper. Prove to me you're not," and he gets you by the scruff of the neck, that person's got to be tough enough not to sort of scream, press the panic button, or give the signal for the aid to come and help.
During his 10 years as an undercover cop, Blex took on a variety of roles and busted many drug deals.
Lying was my game, and I was very good at it. I was convincing. People didn't take me as a cop. You know, they thought I was a legitimate criminal. Every week, you know, major, considerable drug dealers were getting busted with large quantities of drugs. And that was because I was given a free rein. And so we rewrote the rule book.
One deal in particular was to change his life forever.
So this is the scene of one of Peter's biggest ever busts. Now, for legal reasons, I can't tell you where I am. Now, to stay alive in this game, Peter had to be good, very good. When he became a drug dealer, he had to become a drug dealer. He had to learn the lingo. He knew everything there was to know about drugs, but most importantly, he knew the risks. One mistake could be fatal. There were no second chances in this game.
It had taken months of careful planning, a tip-off from an informant and the combined efforts of Scotland Yard, Customs, the DEA and the Royal Ulster Constabulary.
Lovely. Same feel to it or what?
Well, the decor's changed.
It was Blex against not only the IRA, but also the mafia. It may sound like something out of a movie, but this was the real deal, and Blex's life was on the line. This is the first time he's been back in this room since the bust.
What made this deal more scarier than any others that you'd done?
We had 2 firearms teams briefed and hidden in this hotel in case they did turn up with guns. The volume of the drugs as well, you know, made it what you'd call a big job. You know, it was 15 kilos of heroin, and this is 1992.
How much that worth on the streets?
Well, in those days, the street value was about 4 million quid.
How'd you go about testing it? What just weighing it? I mean, would you cook it up, what?
No, well, I weighed it on the scales, and then what I did was I made a small hole in each parcel, took a small proportion of the heroin out, and then laid that on a piece of silver foil. And then I just burnt the heroin. So, like you would if you were about to smoke it, I knew immediately what it smelt like, what it looked like, and, you know, I knew whether it was a proper bit of gear the minute I burnt it, because you just have a quick, you know.
So it could have been a test for you, as if it could have been a moody bit of gear, and if they think if you are old Bill, you ain't going to have a clue, are you? Do you know what I mean? But obviously you knew your game. Now, obviously you got to be careful about it, you know, getting any fumes, you know, because, I mean, that's your worst nightmare, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, I mean, it took me about 4 hours to test all those 30 parcels, and by the end of it, I had a rotten headache. You know, I wasn't high or anything like that, I just had a bit of a headache, which I guess was probably a combination of the, you know, the pressure I was feeling.
Stress, mate,
yeah, and perhaps, you know, the gear.
The deal was done. Blex gave the signal and his team sprang into action. He was arrested alongside the dealer so he wouldn't arouse suspicion.
That buzz you got when you're leaving the bad guys with their drugs and their guns and they're all nicked, and you know they're staring at a lot of bird, you've convinced these career criminals that you're a career criminal.
Yeah, you've pulled it off, and these ain't stupid people, are they? You know
Not at all.
When Blex performed well, he was convincing the bad guys to hand over not only their drugs, but their freedom. And the only way to do that was to deliver the performance of a lifetime.
I think I'm starting to get an idea of this business now. Peter wants to give me a unique insight into what it's like to be an undercover copper. You know, like the pressure of a real deal going down. So I'm going to be playing the role what he would usually play. So he's going to be the dealer, I'm going to be the undercover copper. I've got to get a bit of gear from him, basically. This is my game. I'm quite confident with myself. I should be able to pull this off. Let's crack on. I'm going to change my clobber, go in as a hoodie, I think. Bit of subtext. What's my subtext? What's my motivation? I've got a bit of nervous energy about me. Don't know whether it's because for the first time on this fucking show I'm doing a bit of acting, which is my bread and butter. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to come unstuck. But, You know, he's been a bit quiet around me, Pete. You know, I've spent a bit of time with him, but all of a sudden he don't want to talk to me. I think he's getting a bit method around me. But let's have a method up. We'll go method against method. I'm up for all that, mate. Let's bring it on.
It's not like Blex went to drama school or anything. Everything he knows he learned from the streets. As part of his training on Scotland Yard's elite undercover unit, Blex would often have to take part in role plays designed to push officers to their limits.
You know, it'd be interesting to see how Danny reacts to the little bits of different pressure that I put him under.
So here's the deal. I'll be playing the role of an undercover cop who wants to buy some gear. Blex will be playing a drug dealer who might be able to sort me out. We've been put in touch by a mutual acquaintance called Mick.
Hey?
Yeah.
Stuck in traffic?
Yeah, sorry I'm late. It was,
No, you're all right, it's sweet. It's sweet as.
Yeah.
No problem.
How you doing?
Yeah, good as gold, yeah.
Lovely. How long you known Mick?
Oh, fuck me. I've known Mick for fucking ages, to be honest with you. A long time.
Days, weeks, months, years?
Years, yeah. You know, I don't know fucking bollocks, I don't know aggravation, I just want to fucking get it done, bump, 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 everyone's happy, sweet as we go our separate ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not quite as easy as that, is it? I've got to learn to trust you. You could be anybody. You know, I knew Mick from years ago when I was at primary school.
Fair enough.
I didn't see him
No, listen.
All of a sudden, he lumps up and tells me there's some geezer, cake with money, wants to do a bit of graft with me. I don't know you even fucking had him.
Fire away. Ask me whatever the fuck you want, mate. Whatever the fuck you want.
Take your clothes off.
Get me arsehole out, yeah?
Yeah.
Why should I fucking take my club off, mate?
You could be old Bill and you could be wearing a wire.
Fucking hell. You want me to fucking strip off, do you? Well, I'll tell you what, bollocks, I ain't fucking stripping off for you, mate. Not in a million fucking years. You must think I'm some sort of...
Really? I think you're some sort of undercover old Bill. That's what I think.
Yeah?
Because if you won't take your kit off when there's nobody else here, so that I at least can have the peace of mind that you're not wearing a wire and you're not dirty, filthy, stinking undercover old Bill who have been put into me before, then I'm out the door.
Listen, this is the bollocks I don't want. I don't want all this fucking bollocks. I understand what you're saying, but for fuck's sake, you want me to stand there, start bollock fucking naked?
It's a simple thing.
Okay, right, okay.
Small thing.
Small thing to you, yeah? Fucking big thing to me, but I'll tell you fucking something now, right? I fucking will strip off, all right? I'll get me fucking bollocks out. Is that what you want to fucking see? Yeah? Is that what you fucking want? I'll fucking do it, yeah, boom. What do you want? Fuck me, yeah, look, boom. What more do you want from me, mate? For fuck's sake, you know what I mean? Fuck me. I don't need this bollocks, to be honest with you.
And your top, please.
And me top, yeah? Yeah, look.
Thank you. Turn round. Great.
Sweet now, yeah?
Yeah.
See me bollocks, everything's in order.
I have got some brown. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the capability to handle what I've got?
Of course I have, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here, mate.
What sort of size parcel are you looking at?
Well, I'll be looking at least a few key.
Well, how about if we start with a half?
Ideally, I'd want a bit more than that, but I understand where you're coming from. I understand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walk before we run.
I think we ought to have another meet, okay? And perhaps get off on a better footing than what we did.
Yeah. Pete?
Yeah?
Sweet as.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Look after yourself.
You mind how you go, sunshine?
Yeah.
See you later. I'll be in touch, all right?
See you later.
Ta-da.
Bye.
He's definitely gone up in my estimations about what he does, you know what I mean? I do understand that his job, man, is fucking, that's another level, mate.
Peter and I have got a lot more in common than I thought. I guess in a way, being an undercover cop is a bit like being an actor.
If I mess me line up, I'll get another crack at it. He messes his line up, he gets shot in the fucking head. And that finds a light about me, you know?
The biggest bust of Blex's career took place at a secret London hotel. Everything had gone to plan. The drugs were off the streets and the bad guys were behind bars where they belonged. A highly confidential report on the success of the mission was written, and soon, Bleksley's worst nightmare would become reality. His cover was blown.
This report got stolen from an unmarked police car. And in this report, it quite clearly states my full name in bold capitals. DC Bleksley. Brackets Peter.
So that's all they need, isn't it, really, your name?
Well, if that had been stolen to order, or if it had got into the hands of the people that wanted, you know, I've got a very unusual surname. You know, it wouldn't have been too difficult to find me. But you see, what really, really pissed me off was that in undercover policing, you have a number allocated to you, okay? That's your number. And in all reports, in all paperwork, you never get referred to by your real name.
Just your number.
So the author of this report decided to ignore all those instructions and put my real name in it, which is bad enough. Then he goes and has the report stolen from a car while he goes shopping one day. I mean, talk about compromise my security.
By doing his job so successfully, Blex had become a threat to a vast criminal enterprise, and a price was placed on his head. The bad guys had the power and the money to get their revenge, and they would do whatever they had to get it. He was immediately moved to a secure location for his own safety.
I remember it all coming on top very quickly. The risk assessment was, you know, he's blown, he's in danger, move him, move his family, move them quickly.
Blex took me to the safe house where he spent 2 of his darkest years. He hasn't returned to the house since he left it nearly 10 years ago.
They look like nice little gaffs, to be fair, do you know what I mean? They've got a witness protection program filled to them, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously inside it's just a, you know, it's a different story.
There was a very clear threat against me. They wanted to kill this Peter, who they'd worked out was an undercover policeman. You know, and these were very well-connected criminals. You know, they were linked to the provisional IRA. You know, they were backed by them and funded by them, and you know, they were capable of carrying out their threats.
So, what sort of strain did that put on your relationship? I mean, it must have been a nightmare.
A lot of strain, you know. I didn't handle it very well. You know, I drank too much, smoked too much. I turned into a monster, really, if the truth be known.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The pressures of not only working, but living undercover can prove too much for even the most hardened of undercover cops.
In the end, I had a breakdown, you know, and was quite seriously ill. So I left there and, you know, went to hospital, basically.
Peter managed to hide his illness from his peers, his boss, and even his girlfriend. He was, after all, a professional liar.
The doctor who I was under said, look, if you ever want to get well again, you've got to stop being all these different people. You know, you've got to be Peter Bleksley again.
He'd paid the ultimate price for doing the job he was addicted to. After playing so many different characters for so long, he lost track of who he was.
I can totally understand, you know, the whole thing of getting into the role so much that it's quite hard to snap out of it overnight, you know. On a totally different level, though, you know. It's really interesting for me personally, you know. Difference being it's my livelihood, not my life.
Coming up, Peter tells me about life after the police force.
I've worked on blackmails and kidnap.
And I discover how a man with so many enemies manages to stay alive.
If anybody wanted to put themselves to the trouble of coming after me now, you know, they'd be very foolish.
Peter Bleksley put his own life at risk every day for nearly 30 years. He managed to successfully take down an international drugs trafficking ring, but was forced into hiding after his cover was blown.
It's been a scary and fascinating journey into the mind of a man who lived a double life for so long. He started to lose his mind. The fact that he was turning into the sort of person he spent his whole life trying to put away, I think that scared him.
It all sort of culminated when I nearly killed somebody in a pub one night. A friend who'd just been gossiping and tittle-tattling about me, something that I'd have laughed off previously. It just took on a disproportionate sense of importance in my very sort of altered state of mind. And so I knocked him off a bar stool and then took the bar stool to him. And but for the intervention of a friend, you know, I would have killed him.
It appeared that Scotland Yard were unprepared for a high-profile undercover cop like Peter to suffer a breakdown. Pete thought that the Met didn't provide the support he needed. In April 2000, he sued the Met for compensation. They never accepted responsibility, but offered an out-of-court settlement of 10 grand. His belief that the police force he had dedicated his life to had neglected him in his time of need made his recovery more difficult. Peter eventually got his life back on track and now works as a private eye with Jacqueline Davis, who he knows from his early days in the police.
I had a major surveillance job come in and I thought of Pete and I really needed his skills. Peter is a good operative because he's lived the life, you know, he's walked the walk and he's talked the talk.
After everything Peter's been through and the hardship he's faced, he continues to work in such a dangerous field.
I've worked on blackmails and kidnap and all kinds of stuff. I guess there's still a part of me that working in the private sector still likes that thrill of the chase, of being unseen, of doing the job well.
When Peter isn't sticking his neck on the line for someone else, he earns a good wedge from consulting on cop dramas like Murphy's Law.
I would say the whole genesis of the new Murphy's Law and the reason why it has gone on to be very successful was down to, you know, Blex coming on board.
Elements of the character James Nesbitt plays are based on Blex's life undercover.
We were very respectful of the fact that actually Blex had lived the life. You know, we took it very seriously.
Maybe seeing his life experiences put onto our TV screens is one way for Peter to get the recognition he duly deserves. The threat on Peter's life is still very real, and as our time together draws to an end, I find out why he wanted to make this film.
You know, I was responsible for putting a lot of people away for a lot of time, but, you know, my betrayal of anybody was professional. And if anybody wanted to put themselves to the trouble of coming after me now, you know, they'd be very foolish, because all they'd be doing is getting themselves another big prison sentence wrapped around them, you know. And I decided that it was more important to tell my story than to worry about fear of retribution.
It's been a long, difficult path to recovery for Peter, and now, above all else, he dedicates his time to his family.
I've searched for a long time to find out exactly who I really want to be or who I am, and now I know. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I'm a colleague.
The last role Peter will play is himself.